Hey, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a new weapon that was added to the Portal loot, now with Ash and Iron. Because today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new rocket sidearm, the Unfall. Now this item is going to be pretty unique because of the archetype that it actually is, and also because it has some perks that the other arc sidearm that we have just currently cannot get. And I gotta say that it does have some pretty good ones, including, yes, jolting feedback. So we're gonna be taking a look at the perks that this item can roll with, what are some of the best ones, and the ones that you should be looking for if you're looking for a god roll on this weapon. And at the end we'll talk a little bit about the sidearm, do I think it's good, do I think it's bad, and just overall all my thoughts on the sidearm. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you guys do, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. And now let's get into it, and first we gotta talk about where this sidearm actually comes from. And you're going to be able to get this one from the portal activities. It is another portal weapon that's just now in there, so whenever you're doing the portal activities, you'll always have a chance of getting the Unfold. And it being a portal weapon, it does come with the Vanguard Determination perk, meaning that after using your class ability, any final blows with this weapon will give you some damage resistance. It's okay, it's not bad. And the frame of this item is really what's going to make it unique, because it's together forever. It fires self-propelled missiles that explode on impact, that is the rocket sidearm part of the actual weapon, and also final blows with this weapon will reload and overflow a damaged round into Sturm. So this is essentially a beefed up version of Dreng, but now as a rocket sidearm. Sturm was always not the greatest in PvE, just because Dreng, the main pairing, didn't really work that well in PvE. You don't really want to have two primary weapons, but now this being a rocket sidearm, I can definitely see it working a little bit better. I still don't know if a lot of people are going to be running it in PvE, but it is nice that it has some synergy while at the same time still being a rocket sidearm. And now let's move on and let's actually take a look at the perks that we can get on this weapon. There's going to be some pretty good ones in both slots, the right and the left, so we're going to be having a quick overview on both roles, and then afterwards we'll talk a little bit more in depth into some of the best ones. And at the end, we'll have some god roll suggestions, so if that's what you're looking for, it'll be at the very end. And now, let's get into it, and let's start with the very first trade perk. Now these are the options we have for the first trade perk: Reverberation, Impulse Amplifier, Lead from Gold, Sleight of Hand, Beacon Rounds, and lastly, Disruption Break. And there's a couple of them that I'm interested in, but there's really three that I think that stand out. Two of them being staples of rocket sidearms, and one of them that we have never seen before. So let's start with Impulse Amplifier. This is going to increase your projectile speed as well as max out your reload speed. This one's going to be pretty nice. You're able to reload your weapon faster, and the maxed out velocity just means that you have an easier time hitting enemies that are farther away. Now the main thing about this is that it doesn't really have that many perks in the second slot that really need reloading as a requirement, so it does lose a bit of its value that way. Now we also have Lead from Gold in this slot. I think Lead from Gold is going to be really good. It makes it so every time that you pick up a heavy ammo break, you also get some special ammo. So overall, you just gain a lot more ammo, meaning that you're going to be able to use this weapon just a lot more often. This one is going to be fantastic. Having more ammo on your rocket sidearm is never going to be a bad thing. And if you're already investing into special and heavy ammo generation, this just makes it even more likely that you're pretty much just always going to be able to use this sidearm without running into any sort of ammo issues. So this one's going to be really good, and it's definitely going to be a top tier perk on this weapon. And the final perk that we want to take a look at is Disruption Break. Now this is the very first time we're actually seeing Disruption Break on a rocket sidearm. When you have Disruption Break, every time you break an enemy shield, it makes them vulnerable to kinetic damage for a short period of time. And this is a huge debuff. They take like 50% more damage from kinetic damage. It is really crazy. The problem with this is that you are going to have to pair this up with probably a really good kinetic weapon. Probably some sort of like double special loadout. Or you can also pair this up with the Microcosm, since that does do kinetic damage. Meaning that it's going to make it do some crazy amounts of damage. And since we do have a lot of ammo, because rocket sidearm, it means that we're constantly going to be able to proc this perk. So this one definitely has some potential, especially against champions. You're essentially going to melt champions whenever you're breaking shields with this sidearm. but whenever the enemies don't really have any shields, then it doesn't do anything. So it's a little bit more situational, but it definitely has a lot of potential in this weapon. I definitely think it can be very good. Now these are going to be the options that we have for the second trait perk. We have Rolling Storm, Jolting Feedback, Deconstruction, One Furrow, Binary Orbit, and lastly, Master of Arms. And there's actually quite a few good ones that I think are going to be really good on this weapon. So first, let's start with the two arc ones. We have both Rolling Storm as well as Jolting Feedback. Now Rolling Storm, where I tend to not really prefer it on some special weapons. On that Rocket Sidearm, I definitely think that it can actually work, especially if you pair it up with Lead from Gold that lets you have more ammo, meaning that you're going to be able to use this more often, get more kills, and actually take advantage of Rolling Storm and get all that bow charge. But I would still only recommend this if you are already on an arc build that has other ways of actually creating bow charge and you're just trying to add to it. It'll definitely be a especially good addition to something like that. So I definitely think that it's going to be better than usual than in some of the other special weapons, and I could definitely see me using the Rolling Storm with specific belts. Now Jolting Feedback is going to be pretty good on this weapon, but it's only really going to come into play on some of those bigger enemies. Because of it, again, being a Rocket Sidearm, you're going to most likely kill a lot of the smaller enemies before you even get a chance to actually activate Jolting Feedback. So if you are going to be going for Jolting Feedback, keep that in mind. It's really going to be for dealing with bigger enemies like champions, mini bosses, adding some more boss damage, because most things will not be able to actually handle a couple shots for you to be actually able to proc the thing on some of the smaller enemies. And if you're looking for some damage perks, then we're going to have two different options, One Furrow as well as Master of Arms. Both of these are going to be fantastic, but for different reasons. Now, Master of Arms is going to be a very good and consistent buff. It is very easy to keep up Master of Arms, especially because of the way that the perks lose downgrades and upgrades itself from 1 to 2 stacks, meaning that you're basically always going to have this damage buff. It's 15 at 1 stack, and it upgrades itself to 25 at 2 stacks. And it even activates on kills with other weapons, so even if you're not getting kills with this weapon, maybe you're getting kills with your heavy or with your primary, you're still going to be proccing Master of Arms. Now the other option is going to be One Furrow, again, another really good perk that's kind of like a staple in PvE. It gives you a big damage buff at 35% whenever you hit 3 targets, and that's one of the very important things when it comes to One Furrow, that you don't even need any kills, all you need is some hits, and this being a Rocket Sidearm, being able to hit multiple enemies at once, it makes getting that One Furrow proccing even easier. But even if you are just shooting 3 enemies, you're going to be proccing this very easy and taking advantage of that 35% increased damage. So both these are going to be very solid if you're looking for a damage increase, but I think I am going to end up giving the edge to One Furrow just because it's a little bit more damage while still keeping a relatively easy activation requirement. And now let's talk about some god rules and the ones that you should be looking for on this weapon. So first of all, we're going to have Lead from Gold plus Jolting Feedback. This one's going to work really well. The extra ammo you get from Lead from Gold means that you can just keep proccing Jolting Feedback on some of those bigger targets just more times. The more ammo you have, the more ammo you actually can use for the Jolting Feedback just to get more of those procs out there. To be completely honest, Lead from Gold can work with any other perks, because having more ammo is just a universally good thing. So you want to pair it up with Rolling Storm, you want to pair it up with Master of Arms or One Furrow. All of those are going to be good with Lead from Gold. Now, like I said before, Disruption Break does have some more niche applications, and I feel like that one's going to work pretty well with either Jolting Feedback and One Furrow, but it's not going to be as good as Lead from Gold plus any other perks that are good in the second slot. So as long as you're looking for one of those combos, you're going to be in a pretty good spot and you're going to make the most out of this weapon. Another time that I actually played with this weapon, I actually really liked it. I feel like this one's a little bit better for single target damage, for dealing with some of those bigger targets. This one's not really going to be like an clear monster like in Dead of Kindness. That one having Bolt Shot really gives it the advantage of being able to constantly jolt over and over again, even in smaller enemies, while this one won't be able to jolt on the bigger enemies. But this weapon does have the edge on being newer and actually being part of the tier system, meaning that it's going to be an easier time getting a good roll for this weapon. So while I don't really see it as a complete replacement for the Dead of Kindness, it's definitely going to be getting pretty close, and in any activities that require new gear, this is always going to be a really good choice whenever you're looking for a special arc weapon. But anyways, let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this weapon? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What role are you going to be going for? And have you gotten a good one yet? Anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.